Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to my channel. Info about USA. Today, my topic is Native Americans in the United States Part 2. Please, before watching this video, in start, please like, comment, subscribe, share my channel. Uh, Today we start the second part of Native Americans. In first part, we know about Native Americans, who are Native Americans. Today we are talking about their background. So, background, when we talk about the background of Native Americans, we start beginning towards the end of the 15th century. The migration of European to the America led to countries of population, culture and agriculture transfer and adjustment between old and new world societies. A process known as the Columbian Exchange, as most Native American groups had positively previously preserved their histories by means of oral tradition and artwork. The first written accounts of the contact were provided by Europeans. Ethnographers commonly classify the indigenous peoples of North America into 10 geographical regions with shared cultural traits called cultural areas. Some scholars combine the Plateau and Great Basin regions into Intermountain West. Some separate prairies peoples from Great Plains people, while some separate Great Lake tribes from the northeastern woodland. The 10 cultural areas are erratic, including Luant and Yupik people. Second, Subarctic. Third, northeastern woodlands. Next, southeastern woodlands, Great Plains, Great Basins, Northwest Plateau, Northwest Coast, California, Southwest. At the time of first contact, the indigenous cultures were quite different from those of the proto-industrial and most Christian immigrants. Some northeastern and southern cultures in particular were matrilineal and operated on a more collective basis than that with which Europeans were familiar. The majority of indigenous Americans tribes treated their hunting grounds and agricultural land as being for the use of their entire tribe. At that time, European had cultures that he developed concepts of individual property rights with respect to land that were extremely different. The difference in cultures between the established Native Americans and immigrants, European, and the shifting alliance among different nations during period of warfare caused extensive political tension, ethnic violence, and social disruption. Even before the European settlement of which what is now the United States, Native Americans suffered high fatality rate from contact with European diseases that were new to them and therefore to which they had not yet acquired immunity. The diseases were endemic to the Spanish and other European and were spread by different contact, probably primarily contact with do- domesticated pigs that had been brought over by European expedition and had then escaped. Smallpox epidemic or through to have caused the greatest loss of life for indigenous peoples, as William M. Devaney and noted, caused the author and professor emeritus of geography at the University of Wisconsin Madison in the Princeton myth, the landscape of the America in 1492, the decline of Native American people was rapid and severe, probably the greatest demographic diseases ever. Old world diseases were the primary killer in many regions, particularly the tropical lowland population fell by 90% or more in the first century after the contact. Estimated of the size of the pre-Columbian people of the area that today is the United States vary considerably. They range from William M. Devon's estimated of 3.8 million in his 1992 work, The Native Population of the Americans in 1492, to Henry F. Defoe 18 million in his 1983 work. This number becomes thinned because Henry is by far citizen as politically motivated Dobney most vehement critic in perhaps David is bibliographer of American literature at the University of Wisconsin, where number of the demographic fulmination after the 20 British colonies revolted against Great Britain and established the United States. President George Washington and Secretary of War Henry Knox conceived the idea of citizens civilizing Native Americans in preparation of their assimilation of US citizenship. Assimilation, whether it was voluntarily as it was with the Choctaw are forced was consistently maintained as a matter of policy by a number of consecutive American administrations during the 19th century. The ideology known as Manifest Destiny became integral to American nationalist movement west westward expansion of European American population after the America Revolution result in increasing pursuit on Native Americans and their lands, warfare and rising tension. 1830 the US Congress passed the Indian Removal Act authorizing the government to relocate Native Americans from their homeland within established state to land west of the Mississippi River.